Good evening, y'all. Welcome to the Green Gold Podcast, Episode 1. I'm
Yes,
Coach
yes,
B.
yes.
This is Farmer Marc, and we're here to just expand your mind, expand your ideas, and give you some great information that'll help you have a better experience overall. So, Farmer Marc, tell them what you got for them today.
Yes, Coach B. What I have for them today is we're going to talk about, starting your empire because that's what this is all about. You're gonna have to start your empire because nobody's gonna start it for you. So,
Really? Okay.
so today we're gonna be talking about, we're gonna be talking about how we're going to go about doing this step by step, not in a super in-depth scenario because I don't want to lose you all just yet, but we're going to go over enough information so that we will be able to drag you in, kicking and screaming, because I know that's how many of you are gonna come, kicking and screaming, so that we can make
Come
some
willingly,
impact.
man.
Yes,
They're
we
gonna
want.
come willingly.
Oh, we want you to come willingly, but I know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to reach out there, grab you, and bring you in.
We'll make sure once we bring you in that we give you a hug. You know what I'm saying? It'll be all love once you get here.
Yes,
So,
yes. So, again, we're going to be talking about traditional farming, backyard gardening, homesteading, homemade products, value added products. And the mission is to help farmers, makers, entrepreneurs discover opportunities to increase profitability and build sustainable businesses. So, that's what we're going to do. Um,
that sounds like a real worthy goal, sir.
yes, sir.
Like a real worthy goal.
Yes, we have to change the narrative, and we're talking about the rise of the local food and direct to consumer sales. That's what we're doing. So, some of the things that people are still concerned about, they're still concerned about food security, grocery prices rising, desire to know where food comes from, and freshness and quality. Right. So one of the means that you're going to be able to deal with some of those is you're going to have to go to farmers markets. So you're going to have to go to CSA programs or farm stands or online sales or social media opportunities. And then you're going to have the people who say, well, I don't have much land. Well, we're going to be able to show you how to do your backyard. You're going to do buckets. You're going to do planters. You can do a half acre, a quarter acre. You can, those, just those minute amounts of land or buckets or bags, whichever way, will show you how you can use that to change the way you see farming, growing things, and actually using it for entrepreneurial type situations.
I've even heard of what they call square foot gardening, right? I think that was back in like the 70s, 60s, something like that. But we had a square foot garden, and in 1 square foot raised bed, we probably grew about, I think, 16 different type of plants.
Nice, nice, nice.
Definitely.
So you see, people, we're not talking about something that is so outlandish that only a few will be able to. If you really want to, you can become a part of this with just a snap of a finger.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Snap of a finger. So today we're going to talk. We're going to talk about some fun facts. We're going to talk about how people see growing things and maybe address some of the reasons why they see it that way, right? But how you're going to start your empire? You're going to find out what market has growing potential. Find out what you need to get into the market. Learn how you can become a part of the supply chain. What you do to start a small and establish a system, establish a raw material supply, or get it as close to it as possible. Because listen, if you start something and you don't control the raw material, then you're at a deficit already. Because if I don't have any feed, I'm in trouble.
Yes, sir.
Or if I start a pig farm, but I only raise the pigs to be big, and then I send them to the butcher, but I don't raise any more pigs. And if we're not working, really working together, then I don't have any supply of new pigs.
Or if you have all your pigs kind of ready to go to slaughter all at the same time, because your butcher can only butcher so many at a time. So then
That
what are you going to do with the other ones? That kind of throw off your system. There's so many things that are nuanced that you just have to think about and kind of really be strategic. I think that's
Yes,
like the real thing.
yes, and I'll bring an example of I remember seeing on the news some months ago where this lady was complaining. She ran a bridal shop,
Okay.
and she was complaining about the tariffs because she was saying that all of what she has comes from China and it's all getting tariffed and she didn't know what to do. Now, those are some of the business decisions that, when you're throwing everything into one basket, where you talk about putting all your eggs in one basket,
Yeah.
you don't want to do that because those are some of the issues you will run into. And you don't want to run into those issues while your business is running nice and sweet.
No,
And that's
no.
what happened to her. So she was running around trying to figure out what is she going to do because she didn't have any way out. So you see, if I don't know what to tell her at this point, but you have to make sure that you have different supplies. That's why we have more than one grocery store. Think about it for a moment. If you only have one grocery store, then if that store goes, dormant for some reason, whether it shuts down or, it runs out of supplies, I'll give you an example of there's a little town that I know of, and it has Ace hardware store. And I went into the store and I saw all these empty shelves. So I asked the guy, one of the guys that worked in there, I said, "What's happened to the store? Why you have all these empty shelves in here?" He said, "Man, the owner ran into some financial difficulty and he's not restocking the
For
store."
sure.
So these things do happen. It's not like, with
Oh
something
yeah.
that we're making up. These things happen and they happen on a regular basis because I was like, this is 2026. How do you run the finance? This Ace has been there for. I'm pretty sure I've been there for at least 6 years, and that Ace was there before me. All right, so I'm going. What happened there? So these things do happen. So when you establish the raw material, at least you have a bet. Not that your raw material can't fail. Your raw material supply can fail. However, what you don't want is you don't want to be totally dependent on just one supplier so that that one supplier, for some strange reason, goes out of business or has some kind of difficulty getting stuff, then you're stuck.
Yeah, I always like to think about it as like not building pressure into my systems because there's going to be things that happen naturally as you're doing stuff. And so you don't want to make it to where things have to go right every single time because I've never had things go right every single time.
That's so true.
And so you have to kind of build in just the factor of, well, if this doesn't happen, what's my contingency plan? And so with like suppliers and that's for any type of thing. Gotta have a backup plan and like have it like accessible, not just have like the backup plan to where when things go wrong, oh, let me figure this out. No, like have it ready where things go wrong, I just grab my phone and call somebody else and keep my thing going because your customers, if you built up a customer base, if you just have a dependency on the money that you're making, you're gonna need to keep things flowing.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. So yeah. So by controlling your raw material to as great an extent as you possibly can, now that's going to establish the groundwork for sustainability. You're going to be able to control cost and cast a better understanding of how much production you can handle. Because I met a guy in Live Oak, and he controls 600 acres of land.
Hmm.
I only control eight. And he said to me, and he had a huge operation, and he said to me, if I knew what I know now, I would be like you. I would have started out much smaller. Because I can tell you, just because you control 600 acres of land doesn't mean you're going to use 600
Acres
acres
of
of land.
land, yeah.
You might not even use 600 acres of land for 10 years that you're on the property. But you have to be responsible for all that land.
Yeah, yeah, it
You
has to be
still,
maintained.
yeah, you still got to pay taxes. You still got to, if there's fencing, anything that happens on the land concerning the rest of the neighborhood, that's on you. So these are some of the things that we want to talk about to make sure that we're talking about how you can produce. That's why we're telling you, notice we're not saying you got to go buy 20, 30 acres of land so that you can start growing anything or doing anything. We're talking about you can start in buckets, you can start in bags, you can start on a quarter acre, you can start on half an acre, you
Yeah.
can start on 1 acre because you don't want to grow overnight. Because listen, if you just get into this thing, let's say you want to raise cows and you get 100 cows overnight. So you went from no cows to 100 cows overnight. I mean, that's a lot to grow from, especially if you don't have a ton load of capital to hire people right away to do all these things for you. So that's why mom and pop businesses start out as mom and pop businesses, usually husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe it's family of four, whatever is the case in that situation, and they grow from there. Then they get employees. But if you're just responsible for the whole neighborhood overnight, that's going to be huge. And people think that when they see the finished product, like say a Walmart or a Publix or a Kroger, they think that that stuff happened overnight. It did not happen overnight. It can't happen overnight. These people, Microsoft started out in the garage.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many people do you think we're going to be fitting in a garage? So we want to make sure that we look at controlling costs so that you can better understand how much production you can handle. Because remember, we're talking about you growing your business.
And you have to have it to where it's like sustainable and almost like think about what if you were successful. So like, what if you bought 100 cows and you started with that, and then all of a sudden, like your business popped off to where you actually needed more. Like, would you be able to handle like more cows right then, or would you have to turn down that success because you just have so much going on to where you can't move forward, and then you end up getting burned out or kind of walking away, not because you weren't successful, but just because you weren't ready to able to handle it, based on you trying to go too big too early. So I always like to think about it as like, what can I sustain, knowing that growth opportunity is always there. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you know what you're doing and you're having success with it. The real thing is, what kind of experience do you have too? Because going from 0 to 100 of anything overnight, you're kind of missing a whole bunch of the experience that comes with growing from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and that is those experiences tend to be really, really important ones, especially when you get a lot of stuff. So all them steps matter, and they only really help you going forward, maintain.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So, for example, we're going to use today the hibiscus, or some people call it the garden sorrel. It's
Or give me some more names because I heard a whole bunch
oh,
more names
they
yesterday.
yeah, they call them roselle.
There you go.
They call them sorrel docks.
But I'm gonna tell you, when I first met you and you was talking about sorrel, I've been to like a whole Roselle festival, and I know it was the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay,
I
okay,
thought it
okay,
was something different
okay.
until I saw it. You know what I'm saying? I actually tasted it, and I know, okay, that's the same thing. But like just hearing the words,
Okay.
unless you're familiar with all those names, you just wouldn't know. Do you know
Right.
the Spanish name?
Um, as far as I know, Roselle. That's the name that they use. They have another name for it.
Uh, they do. They call it Haya. Oh man, I don't know it either.
But it's not Higher Man, right?
No, 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 no. It's like highest sense something.
Okay.
I'll get it for
Hey,
y'all.
you can look that up. The botanical name is Rumex acetosa. Okay, so Rumex acetosa. Yes. So it's a niche market, right? But listen to this, folks. It's a niche market that's worth over $200 million.
Alonza, Alonza. I was way off. Alonza,
Ah, okay. So say that one more time again.
Alonza.
Yes, another name for the garden sorrel. Okay, so this market is a niche market and it's over $200 million in value, right? The market is expected to grow another $180 million by 2033. That's going to bring that market cap to around $380 million. Now, I don't know about you, but what I do know is I don't see food going out of style anytime soon.
No, sir.
So these
Especially not in the
market
United States.
and people love to eat. So when this is happening, what's happening is now people are saying, "Hey, look, we want more variety." And I can tell you this: in America, we have limited variety. We have a lot of the same thing dressed up. I go to Asia, and when I go to Asia, I mean, I see so many varieties of apples, so many varieties of potatoes, so many varieties of grapes, so many varieties of plums. I didn't know they existed. So, when you travel, and if you travel, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, is that there's a lot of variety of foods out there that we don't know about yet.
Yeah, I think
So,
our folks, man, they really can't handle that all that variety because they really have trouble making choices just walking through the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think all that variety would maybe like, even blow their mind possibly. So it may be
my
better that
mind
they
was
don't.
blown. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking about a niche market that has a market value, current market value in the US here, $380 million. And one of the reasons why is because a lot of people don't realize how much hibiscus they actually consume when you look at the different things that it's used for. But one of the main things that you can see, the easiest things you can get, go over to your tea section, and when you go over to your tea section, you look at all the teas that are there. you'll see that almost every one of them, no matter what flavor it is, has hibiscus included in the ingredients. And it's because of the different characteristics that the hibiscus brings. Hibiscus brings a nice little tart taste, a lemony type taste, but it's very, very prevalent in the use of tea making. So if you're wondering, oh, who's going to buy all the hibiscus? I've never heard about it before. Well, if you've never heard about it before, go look and you'll start to see how many foods actually have hibiscus in it.
Hmm. I bet it's
So
a long list.
a long list, yes. So what you want to be looking at also is to be part of the growth, you got to start practicing how to grow this stuff. Okay. I have clients that started growing enough to pay their land tax and a few of their light bills for a whole year, right? So people say that they're not good at growing anything. I hear that
Oh
all the
man,
time, right?
don't do
People say,
them
"Oh,
like that, Farmer Mark.
right, yeah, there you go. Okay, or they boast and tell me, oh, I kill every plant that I put my hands on. Okay, so the thing is this, is that everybody knows how to grow something, and I'm gonna make you out to be storytellers. I'm not gonna call you liars. I'm
Okay,
not
okay.
gonna call you a liar.
Thank you. We appreciate
But
that,
I'm gonna
sir.
say that you're storytellers, okay? Because everybody knows how to grow grass. I mean, as a matter of fact, everybody that I know, especially homeowners, they're always interested in growing grass.
I
There's no
mean,
doubt
even if
about
you don't
that.
know how to grow grass, grass grows though, Farmer Mark. So you know what I'm saying. That's maybe
That's
why
true.
you know.
And you know how much people spend on approximately, according to Google? They spend anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 on a regular basis, year after year, growing grass.
And we can
Okay,
just verify that really quickly, you know what I'm saying? There's the facts. He's not making that up. And I
okay,
would say that's on the low end because people
that
that
is.
use money on their grass tend to have a little bit of extra funds and they use a good bit on that grass. And them lawns be
Oh
luscious. I
yes,
mean, they be looking good enough to eat. You just
just can't
can't
eat
eat
them.
them. Yeah.
So you think about it. You spend $1,000 to $1,500 on the low end because look, I'm pretty sure they didn't include all the equipment that you bought
Yeah,
because
yeah.
by the time you buy some clippers, a lawnmower, and
Got to gas it up.
edger and the gas and all that, you're gonna spend easily over $1,500. So that's why I
Definitely.
said 1,000 to 15 on the low end, all to do what? Impress the neighbor. Come on, people, we gotta wake up. So we're impressing the neighbor, spending thousands of dollars every year, but we don't eat any of that stuff. And at the same time, it doesn't pay any bills. It doesn't pay the land tax. It doesn't pay any electricity bills. It doesn't pay anything. All you're doing is growing all that stuff to what? Impress your neighbor. Because
It
impressing your
might pay your like
neighbors.
association bill, you know what I'm saying? You might not get fined by the association, but that's about
Okay,
it.
right? So grass, in case, in this case, makes you no money. And it cannot improve your health. It cannot improve your financial status. It doesn't do any of that stuff. Okay? Sorrel or garden sorrel, and many other crops that you can grow, that you could grow in your front yard sometimes, in your backyard many times, can do all that you need to do as far as at least paying your taxes every year. And listen, some of you people out there are paying four, 5,000, $6,000 a year in taxes. So that's why I'm talking about this is a time when you need to definitely start growing something. So that's why we're going to keep talking about one thing. We're going to address several things, not today, because we can't talk about everything in a few minutes. But we will be able to address one thing today and give you a scenario so we can get that brain starting to think.
And we
Okay?
talk about taxes really quickly. I mean, in some states they have what they call agricultural exemptions, and you can get those for actually growing plants. So if people think about that as like only having animals, only having cows, and like that definitely works. But like there are also those same type of exemptions where that's basically saving you money directly off of your home bill now, just for growing things. So and you can actually eat those things. You know, you can sell those things, so you're not getting investments that's paying you right back immediately. So just think about that.
Yes. So we're in Florida, and here in Florida, the hibiscus or garden sorrel that grows really great. Some of the things that you can make with this stuff, you can make powders.
Hmm.
You can make. I know a guy that goes to the market. He sells microgreens because this plant gives off millions. One plant will give you millions of seeds. So he's always got seeds. He's got seeds galore. So you think you got, 15, 20, 30 of these plants, you're gonna have millions of seeds. So if you want to go into the microgreen business, you could easily go into the microgreen business, and you'd be able to control your raw material because you control your seeds,
Seeds, yes, sir.
and therefore you can easily keep up with the market demand as you grow. Okay. Yes, that really is a nugget, folks. You can make dyes from this thing. You can make teas, sauces, drinks. So the Rumex acetosa, is a plant that will give you a whole lot of bang for your buck.
And that's where you really want to look at growing plants and like the beauty of them, because so say we even compare it to like growing animals. You can grow an animal and raise it, and like you can butcher it and use it a lot of different ways, but there's a lot of extra processing that takes a lot of equipment and a lot of investment to really use all of a cow. Versus if you grow plants, you can do that same stuff for a lot less cost, with a lot easier to access equipment, and there's really more uses, because you can grow a lot more plants easier than you can growing cows or any type of animal, and just once again get more bang for your buck, across the board with so many different uses. So that's a
That's
beautiful
true.
thing.
That's true. And just remember that all those animals that you have, they're going to need to be fed by plants. So another thing that you can always look at is, well, my neighbor has chickens and my other one has cows. I can grow food for their cows or their chickens.
And don't get it twisted. I grow my own animals. I consume them. I'm not against animal growing at all. I'm just saying when it comes to making money and kind of being flexible, plants tend to have a little bit of a different upside.
Yes, and that's one of the other things that we want to look at also is there is unexplored areas like cellulose production. The sorrel plant produces a lot of cellulose, and because of that, you can use it for thickener, um,
Hmm.
thickeners for different things. Thickeners are used for all kinds of stuff, from glues to food to, making paint. Thickeners are used for all kinds of things. But one of the unique things about the cellulose that is produced by the garden sorrel plant is that the thickener is not a binder. It acts as a stabilizer, but it's not a binder. Most of the binders that you're going to find in food nowadays, it's going to cause you to be constipated. It's going to cause you to get stiff. It makes the body stiffen, the cells stiffen. But it's great as a stabilizer in the food or in the product, but it's not great for your body. So the cellulose produced from the garden sorrel is very good for building the body, but at the same time it acts as the same thing as a stabilizer in many products. So you can use it in that. You can also use it as a facial. Um, there's a lot of unexplored areas where plants, such as the sorrel, have not been introduced yet. But even though you don't know about it, because think about this for a second. Viagra, for instance, when Viagra was introduced to the market, it was not introduced as an erectile dysfunction fixer. It was introduced as a circulation promoter.
Hmm.
That's what it was there for. It just so happens that most of the people, men, who noticed that by using this circulation drug, it improved their erectile dysfunction situation because, of course, if you're a man, you must realize that good blood flow is what helps you to get a good erection. So that's where that happened. It just happened to spill over into that market, which was a very troubled market because we had a lot of erectile dysfunction. So they started using that, and when they started using that, that's when it nobody talked about it improving blood flow, but that's what it does. That's why it doesn't solve every erectile dysfunction
Hmm.
problem.
Okay, okay.
All
I
right.
know when it came out, guys was happy, and they've been happy since.
Okay.
Especially these older guys I see
All
around here
right.
with the younger
All right.
ladies.
So yeah, so the thing is, garden sorrel is not only useful as a plant, it's useful as a business in many genres. So we got to really look at how we're going to go about doing that kind of introducing that. And the thing we want to show you is we want to talk about some of the things that we've seen online as far as fun facts about, well, it's not fun facts, it's real facts, right? It's fun, but it's real. So some of the facts that we're looking at is the average person is spending, 15, $100 and more a year growing grass. So why shouldn't you spend some more money growing some food that will help your pocket, pay some bills, and at the same time help you to become the entrepreneur that you always wanted to be? And you can do so many things on along this line. So you're looking at a 200 million to $380 million industry, right? So what are we looking at over there, Coach B?
We just got some different garden soil facts from the USDA.
Okay, and here's some of the facts that some of the things that when you're not growing the stuff, that's why you need us. You really need to talk to us, and we're not telling you to come talk to us because we think we're the only game in town. But listen to this: when you look up some of the facts about growing sorrel, they'll tell you that it's cold hardy. It's not, right?
It
It
depends on
will
how much
grow.
cold,
It'll just depend on where you are. Now, if I live in Key West or I live in California, then yeah. But if I lived in where I live now in northern Florida, what we're looking at is not cold hardy. What you have to do is you have to get those plants started by February, the end of February, no later than that. And then you're going to have to get them through that little cold spell because the cold is lasting all the way through April now. So it would be best if you start them inside. They'll still be little plants, but you can start a lot of them inside. And then by the time it starts to warm up, that's when you plant them because it it's saying online also. That's why sometimes when you look at information on the internet, you have to have more than one source. Now, I, in this situation, don't have to get more than one source because I am the source of this key information here. And I know that it's saying that it doesn't do well in the heat. This is when it really comes to life because we plant in April and we harvest by the end of October. So it's got to go through the heat.
Heat,
Right?
yes.
So I don't know what region they got that information from. So it's very good to be able to get great information, and we're always going to try to give you the best information out there possible. So just so you know, in Florida, it grows best in the spring going into the fall. That's when you're usually going to harvest. Not during the winter. It's not going to last. So don't believe that. It's not
And
going to happen.
And that's part of that experience that we were talking about earlier, and just kind of gain that experience and finding folks who have that experience, because that's going to help you out so much, help you from having to say, well, I always kill a plant, or I have a black thumb, or whatever it is. It's normally it's not your black thumb, it's your bad experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or it's lack of experience, not knowing what you're looking at, not following stuff that's online, and like not actually getting out there and like maybe trying it, because depending upon what you're doing and like how your setup is, like for instance, you're not supposed to be able to grow broccoli over the summer,
Okay.
but if you have some shade, then you can possibly do that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have a plot that gets early morning sun and that's all, it may actually work out for you. So you never want to deal with absolutes. You want to deal with experience, and that's what our main focus is sharing that experience with actually doing it. I have some sorrel plants that I got from this gentleman. I'll show them to y'all in a second. We planted them in April, and they've been thriving this past month and a half, and they're looking pretty good so far. And it's been hot, hot, hot. Only thing they need is water.
Well, go ahead and pull that up so you can show it to our people, and let me go over some pointers here. So many growers only think about planting, then they're thinking about harvesting, and they're thinking about selling, right? Fine. But if you want to be a successful farm business, you got to think about growing, processing, packaging, educating yourself and educating the people about your product too, because people need to know what your product is all about. And you got to figure out how you're going to entertain certain aspects to bring people to you, the market, and build your community. But let's switch over to what
So we got
Coach
the
B is going to show you
sorrel
here.
plant here. This is just like I say, one that we got from Farmer Marc. We got two of them. I think we got three of them. But we got two of them in actual ground, and I'm excited. One of them gets more sun than the other one. One of them has like a little bit of coverage from a mulberry tree, but they're both looking very, very good. I'll show the other one real quickly. Um,
And right now I have almost a little about 220 of those plants in the ground.
you know, because he actually does this. And so you want to definitely listen to somebody that does it, only because they're only going to tell you what they've been doing. You know what I mean? And he, like I say, when I met him, he was selling drinks that had the sorrel in it. Makes his juice taste very, very good. And that's just one way to use it. But he has the experience, and so when you have the experience, you have people that have are willing to give you that. You gotta listen.
Yes, and you got to come check us out at Market on Main, because when you come check us out at Market on Main, here's what you're
Hope
going
you can
to.
see my T-shirt here, Market on Main shirt.
Yeah, Market on Main in Alachua city. You can,
Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., right next to Bell's Burgers, downtown Alachua.
that's right. Because one of the things that makes us unique is because, see, I grew up drinking sorrel drink. And I can tell
Okay,
you this, the
okay.
sorrel drink that we make is way better than anybody else's. I've had so many people come say, but how do you get your sorrel to taste like that? Like, yeah, well, see, that's one of the reasons is, you see that cellulose that's in the sorrel? When you get that sorrel drink, when you get the sorrel itself, and it's old, or it's been dried so much that it changes the color and it's more brownish than red, then what happens is when you use it to make your sorrel drink, that cellulose is no good anymore. It's like disappeared. So when you make the sorrel, it doesn't have that nice kind of smooth taste to it. It has a very thin, watery taste. So my sorrel, because we worked on perfecting it, because we know that when people are, unfamiliar with being in contact, drinking a certain kind of drink, then they're very skeptical. So when we give them that, Coach B, when you got that first sample, what did you think?
I was surprised that it tasted so good, just because I've had other kind of healthier green based juices, red juices that were supposed to be healthy for me, and they just didn't taste the best. And I've even, like I say, been to like a whole Roselle festival, and they had some nice stuff out there, but it didn't taste that great. So yeah, I was honestly shocked that it tasted that well. But at like the same time, I wasn't too shocked because he was pretty confident in what he was selling, because he told me it was going to taste good.
Yes, yes, I did say that because, sometimes people just think that what it is what it is. So yes, so one of the main reasons why I was able to do that is because I controlled the way we dry the sorrel. So the way we dry the sorrel, we're able to keep certain aspects of it so that when we use it to make the drink, it comes out really well. So that's one of the pointers that we mentioned before is controlling your raw material. When you control your raw material, then you can explore different options that you didn't have before when you just got to get raw material from anywhere that you possibly can just to keep your business going.
And that stuff really matters because like I was saying earlier, when you are trying to build a business, trying to do anything that it takes a process, you really want to don't build obstacles into your system. You really want to have it be obstacle free, because the obstacles are going to show up. And so controlling your raw materials, being able to adjust certain characteristics in the post production, things of like that nature, it just really makes your life easier. It makes your business grow faster, and it makes you more effective. And then also it gives you more time to like now handle stuff that does go wrong, because you're not fighting yourself as you build things out. So it's crucial step. And I mean, that's just any business, not just plants. That can be in anything that you're trying to get into. Being able to cut out your own, what they call, self-inflicted wounds. Stop doing that, and you will
Yes.
see things and start to have self-inflicted benefits, because that's where he is, where like, because he has that control over the process, now he can start to manipulate things to get benefit from them. So he's not just avoiding problems, he's adding value. And that's where you win.
Yes, yes. And one of the other things that we want to talk about too is this is not just about, let's say, okay, so you grow some sorrel and you make a drink. What made us different, where that's why I got the reaction from Coach B and many other people, hundreds of other people, there's thousands by now, many thousands, is because when we realized what we had, we then decided that, okay, if we're going to bring this to the market, we're not just bringing anything to the market. We wanted to bring something special to the market. So we spent a lot of time working it out. We spent some time in the kitchen working it out. No, we don't like it that way. Yes, we did like it this way. No, there's too much cloves. Yes, that's enough ginger. No, there's too much ginger. All those things we spend time working it out so that, because see, let's say your apple juice on the shelf. Your apple juice on the shelf, whoever makes it, they have a specific formula that they use every single time. Every single time. What tends to happen a lot of times is when we look at businesses where, if you're thinking from a grower standpoint where you just plant, harvest, and sell, you're not really thinking about any of the immediate aspects that makes planting special, makes harvesting special, or makes selling special, right? But if you want to be successful, have a successful farming business, you're going to have to think about those things. So we spent a lot of time working on the actual product that we were going to bring to the public. And that's why when we finally figured it out, what this was, when we tasted it, we were saying, "Oh man, this is good," and we weren't. A lot of times, some like people will bring like a cookie to the market. Yeah, so they threw some flour together and they put some sugar and some butter, and oh yeah, we got a cookie. Oh, maybe they put an icing job on it. It looks really nice, and then you taste it. It tastes no different from the cookie in the store. Sometimes it might not even taste as good as the cookie in the store, or it just doesn't hit that spot. And you see, whenever you do something, whether it's a lotion, whether it's a cookie, whether it's a drink, whatever it is that you're bringing to the public, what's going to make you stand out differently from the guys that are located in the regular supermarkets is your thing that's going to be special. And we wanted a special sorrel drink. I've even had people say, "Oh yeah, my mother made sorrel all the time." Like, and I'll tell them straight to their face, "She didn't make it like this. No, she did not." And they drink it and they go,
No, she
"Yeah,
didn't.
no, she didn't make it like this. This is different. How you do that? You got some secret formula?" No, it's not a secret formula. It's love and care. I want to make sure that when someone drinks my sorrel drink, they'll be like, "Yeah, oh
I mean,
man."
I would say that it is a secret formula. It's not a secret, but it is a secret formula because it is your own. But the real secret sauce to me to this whole thing, it goes back to once again controlling the means of your production. Because if you have that control, now you have time to go through that process.
True
If
that,
you
true that.
buying stuff all the time to like make your stuff and you have to wait till the supplier has it, then that's gonna shrink down your time of experimentation and put a lot more pressure on you just putting out product because you got to start selling ASAP to start to bring back that and make a return on your initial
Yes.
and investment. And so just being able to excuse me, produce your own gives you the opportunity to like experiment and get a real valuable product that's going to work because just at this point 95% of most markets are saturated with BS. They're not saturated with good stuff, but they're saturated with BS. And so, if you can take time to get something that's not BS, it's really not that hard to win. And the other thing I wanted to say fastly is that when you are a small grower or like a small starter, you're able to pivot and kind of move around a lot easier than say you have a big old business. Like imagine like a big boat moving versus like a small boat. A small boat can maneuver a lot easier because it doesn't have all that weight on it. A big ship has to start turning at least 30 minutes before it wants to make that turn because there's so much to maneuver. So as a small person starting out, you have so much more flexibility to get in the game, follow trends, do research, and then make adjustments into your formulas to get that special thing that you can bring to the market and just start wowing right away from day one.
Yes. So, as I said, we made sure that it was high quality. So the first thing that we want to make sure that you do is we wanted you to take into consideration because we're running long here now, but we want you to get, instead of just becoming a grower and only thinking about planting, harvesting, and selling, I want you to think about being a successful farm business, right? And I want to drive that into your thought pattern, a successful farm business, because you got to think about your growing, your processing, your packaging, how you're going to educate, how you're going to entertain, how you're going to bring your stuff to the market, and building your community at the same time. And I have worked on the sorrel drink is only one of the things. You can go to my website, junglelifeherbs.com. You'll see other things that we have worked on to bring quality to the market because as small businesses, we need to bring quality to the market.
Has to be quality.
Yes, the big boys already have the quantity. okay? But we need to bring quality. So I brought a quality sorrel drink to the market. I package it in its simplest packaging, whereas it was covered under cottage law. And at the same time, we had to have a commissary lease so that we could make the stuff because we don't have our own kitchen yet. Okay, so we had to get a commissary lease so that we can make it there. So what wasn't covered under cottage law, we had to get an agreement with a professional kitchen so that we could make it there and fall under the guidelines. So those are some of the other things that you're gonna learn about when you're talking about educate. Your education is not just educating the people, but educating yourself. And when we did that, then the next thing was we had to find a way to market it. Now we can't sell this product on our website, so we had to figure out where we're going to find a market. Now that's the other thing that you'll be able to bring. Now, when you bring your stuff to the market, after you spend time actually making it really quality, it's going to be easy for you to get buyers. It's going to be easy. I remember one guy specifically came and he brought someone with him the second time he came. And he said, but don't buy it yet. Let me check and see if it's the same as last week. And he drank it and he said, oh, yeah, it's the same thing. He said, okay, go ahead and buy it. So you see, people are examining you because you see in the store, you don't see the CEOs and you know their whole board when you buy a can of sausage or a loaf of bread. But at the market, we're going to have to do one-on-one, and I want to make sure that you feel very happy about what I'm supplying you, and I want to be very happy about what I'm supplying you too.
And the real thing to be aware of, especially when you're doing direct market sales, is that there's two things going on there. So there's people there that are there to give you a chance, but then they're also kind of skeptical because they don't know you. You know, they just showed up on your stand versus when they go to the big box store, they know what's in that big box. Now they may not be happy with it, but they know it's there. They trust it, and so that
Yes.
comes back to that
How that happens,
quality.
I don't know. They trust. They
Yeah,
just
I know.
throw stuff at the oh, we
Yeah,
trust.
it
Throw
came
trust.
from
Throw
Walmart,
the
so
trust
gosh
out there.
darn it,
Yeah.
we're gonna do it again, no matter what
Yes.
it is. And
Exactly.
so when you have quality, once they realize that like they can trust you, they're gonna be happy to come back and trust you over and over again because they can relate to you because they met you, and now they know that you actually are putting in, like you said, that heart, soul, and care because you have a quality product. That's different from what they're getting other places. And once you can make that type of a connection with your customers. It just number one, it grows your confidence to help you in your own process, but then it starts to take care of that marketing for you, where all you have to do is just start showing up with that thing, and they're gonna come and find you the same way they would find a big box. But you got to be consistent and have that quality for them. Don't take no shortcuts on because it's really not worth it. Because even if you do pop off for a minute, I always tell folks, well, are you planning on making this money and then dying? Because you're gonna need some more money in about 6, 7 months, at least 4, 5 years. So you need to have a process that's gonna work over and over and over again versus working a little bit and then going back to the drawing board. That doesn't make any sense when you are controlling your own system, things like that. So
Yes. So in closing, we want to make sure you realize this is a $200 million industry, and we're just talking about one plant.
just one
Okay.
plant that you probably didn't even know that much about before this morning, you know.
Okay. And it's destined by 2033 to be worth $380 million. Now, my question to you is, are you going to put some thoughts together? And if you need to, you can reach out to us. But are you going to put some thoughts together and figure out how you're going to become a part of that $180 million growth, where you're going to be able to collect, you know, maybe a few thousand, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions out of that whole pot that's going to grow by the time you get to 2033? Or are you going to just continue to grow grass and that $180 million industry grows to the $380 million industry, and you have no part in it at all?
You know, that's a question that you have to ask yourself. Thankfully, we all get to make our own choices. But the thing I want you to think about is imagine just the fact that if you just say you don't grow anything right now, you start with something that's fairly simple to grow as far as it doesn't take a lot of maintenance. It's not the heaviest feeder. It's not the hardest plant to actually grow with the right knowledge. And you have just some success. That's going to open you up to a whole bunch of other plants. So maybe you just need a small slice of that $180 million. And that's the real beauty to me of plants, because if you just have some dirt and somewhere to grow them, then you have the opportunity to get into many slices of many different markets. And as long as you have quality across your process, you really are limitless to what you can get into. It's a matter of what type of work you want to do, what type of choices you actually want to make. So that's, to me, you just really can't lose with unlimited choices. That as long as you follow the process, it's going to work out. So always.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for being with us, and we will see you next week. Until then, grow some food.
Yeah, man. Grow some food and take care of yourself too. Be nice to yourself, please.